Well, chapter 12 today is titled Driving in Adverse Conditions. There's only 3 lessons. Page 228. Lesson 12.1 is reduced visibility. Under dirty windows, it says it's important to keep your windows clean because dirty windows will reduce visibility. That's pretty obvious. When the slightest amount of moisture builds up, turn on your front window defroster, switch on your rear defogger, and the air conditioner or heater if this will help. You can always open windows as needed. Clean all windows and lights ahead of time in bad weather. Sun glare. At times the sun can create severe and blinding glare conditions. Sunglasses and a sun visor can help, but try to avoid looking toward the sun. Again, one of the best things is to keep that windshield clean, not only the outside but the inside. You get a little thin layer of haze on it, and you have to make a point of it to remember to clean those, because typically you don't realize it's dirty until you're driving towards the sun and you can see the film on that window. Low levels of light at night severely limit your ability to use the IPDE process, and again, dawn and dusk driving situations can also be very dangerous. Under headlights, use high beam headlights to see further down the road. When vehicles are more than 1/2 mile in front of you, then you shouldn't use your high beams, and if they're coming toward you and they get less than 500 feet, you should have your low beam headlights on. 500 feet is not that far. We got 300 yards on the football field, so from one street to the next would probably be just barely over 500 feet. Okay, use low beam headlights in bad weather. However, in snow, heavy rain, or fog, high beam headlights will not work very well. All it does is illuminate more of the light of the snow or fog, and so be careful with that. Meeting other vehicles. Is the oncoming driver far enough away to respond to you? If you think they have their high beams on, then it's customary to just put yours up and then back down. And if they have theirs up, that should be an indication to them that, oh, I need to put mine down. If yours are already down, I would advise this, and this is customary, that you put yours up and back down quickly, and that tells the other person, oh, they already had them down. So a personal experience, I was coming back from Delta on the Flowell Road with my family, and this car was coming towards us, and I thought they had their high beams on, and so I flashed mine up and down, and there was no response from them. And I'm like, that made me kind of a little frustrated, and anyway, as I got closer, I put mine back up, and I shouldn't have done that, okay? It is dangerous, and also, you don't know who's coming towards you. All you can see are headlights, so you have really no idea of who's coming towards you. And it ended up being a policeman, and he pulled me over, and I just, I was cooperative and nice, and I said, well, I just felt like your lights were still up. And so, yes, it was my fault, but also I blame him because he should have had his, flashed up and down to tell me that they were down. If you are approaching a car with high beams, don't stare directly into the high beam headlights, look off to the side. The term overdriving your headlights means driving at a speed that makes your stopping distance longer than the distance lighted by your headlights. So if you're driving along and then you see a deer and you don't have the time to stop, you are overdriving your headlights. Make sure you do not overdrive your headlights, especially in bad weather or on a slippery road. In normal driving conditions, use the following steps, known as the 4-second stopping distance rule. So pick a fixed point, count the seconds. We've done this, okay? And then you'd count how long it takes you to get to that fixed point. Again, at least 2 seconds is kind of the typical following rule. More is better, but go with at least 2. Visibility in weather. Fog. When your headlights shine into fog, light is reflected back by water particles in the air, making it harder for you to see. And a lot of cars have an extra set of lights down low on the car, and they're called fog lights. If you stop at the side of the roadway, use your hazard lights to warn others that you are stopped. If you just leave lights on, a car may think that you're still traveling on the road. But if you have them flashing, that should indicate that you're off to the side. Be careful again in rain. It can build up on the road. You can hydroplane, makes it hard to see. Same with snow. You get a lot of slushy snow. It can really alter your car's path of travel. You hit a big chunk of ice or snow, it can really, you can lose the grip of the steering wheel. Big flakes makes it hard to see. Of course, the best way to stay safe is to try to delay travel until the roads and weather improve. So if you can, that's the best thing to do. Section 2 is reduced traction. So when rain starts to fall, it mixes with dust and oil on the road. This mix can make the road very slippery until more rain washes the mixture away. So it's within the first 15 minutes of rain that it will be the most slippery. Hydroplaning, when a tire loses contact with the road, rising up on top of the water and no longer has contact with the road. That is hydroplaning. It could be as low as 35 miles per hour speed, and with water as little as 1/12 of an inch. That's really not that much, but your car just actually starts skimming on top of that water and it makes it hard to steer. Okay, if you must drive through standing water, reduce speed and use properly inflated tires with good tread to avoid hydroplaning. Deep water, if you do not know the depth of the water ahead, do not drive through it. If you must drive through deep water, use the following steps. If there is even a slight possibility of the water coming up to the bottom of the vehicle, do not enter the water. Drive slowly. Apply light brake pressure. After leaving the water, then use the brake and get those brakes dried off quickly. But again, if you don't know the depth of it, do not drive through it. I'm going to put a video on for you to watch. There's a news story, it's been a few years ago, down in Colorado City, Hilldale. It's a polygamous community, southern Utah, northern Arizona there. And there was a flood, and they were driving through it. I may have shown this in geography last year. And it shows a Suburban and a white van going down the river, and they go over this steep part. Well, the next day, the van literally was ripped in half. They found it in 2 pieces the next day. There were about 8 people that had died. There was a little boy, I don't think they had ever found his body. So, pretty dangerous. Be careful. Okay, snow. Driving techniques for snow. Gentle acceleration, steering, and braking are the keys to vehicle control in snow. Put your vehicle in motion by gently squeezing the accelerator. If your drive wheels slip, release the accelerator and start again. A lot of people think, oh, my wheels are spinning, I've got to give it more gas. And that's bad, okay? Let up on the gas pedal and allow the tires to catch, okay? They'll catch, you can feel it. And then you can again slowly accelerate and have some traction. So, winter tires, tire chains, they even have some tires that have little metal spikes in them. They're called studded tires. Most of us probably just drive on all-season tires, a tire that has traction for winter but is good for mileage during the rest of the year. If you get stuck, there's a technique called rocking. So you can, if you give it gas and the car moves forward a little bit, but then it stops. So you give it gas, moves forward, let off the gas, let the car roll back. Then you use the momentum to help you get out. As you start forward again, give it gas again, and you'll probably be able to go farther. And then come back and gas again, back and gas, and eventually, hopefully, you can get out. You can also do that with a vehicle that has a manual transmission if you know what you're doing. Okay? Forward gear, moving forward. Then you can actually put it into reverse and do both directions. Gas going backwards, shift into first or second, gas going forward, and so on. But you got to know what you're doing. Okay, ice. There's a picture that shows, the rest of the road might be fine, but as you drive over a bridge, it could be icy because the cold temperatures go under the bridge as well as up on top. But just be very careful in driving when there's ice. You know, it might be just best not to drive at all. Black ice forms in thin sheets. It can be extremely hard to see. Ice in tire tracks, so a car's driven down the road, there's kind of a little space where they've driven. Water might come from the sides of the snow into that area and then freeze. So, other reduced traction situations, gravelly road, we're probably very familiar with those in our area. If you're going around a turn too fast on a gravel road, those little pieces can act like marbles and your car just starts sliding off the road. The same with the washboard roads, okay? If you're going too fast and it's bumpy, then it can just literally bounce you off the road. Leaves can be wet and slippery and give you reduced traction. Different construction areas might have dirt or things on the road. Skidding. In extreme reduced traction situations, your tires may lose all or part of their grip on the road and skid. Skidding can happen on any surface while you are braking, accelerating, or steering. Loss of traction. Remember that a locked or spinning wheel provides no traction or steering control. So that's why we have anti-lock brakes now. And again, if you feel it spinning, let up on the gas. Loss of traction to the power wheels. In this situation, simply release your accelerator and allow the spinning tires to stop spinning and regain traction. So not only in snow, but mud or even rain possibly. There will be a slight tendency for the rear end to slide out. Loss of traction to the front wheels. Your front wheels do not have enough traction for the vehicle to turn as it should. This is known as an understeer situation. And then you brake hard, turn the wheel, and feel your rear end slipping. This is known as an oversteer situation, a skid situation in which a vehicle's rear end tends to slip out or fishtail. So numbers 1 through 3 there tells you what to do. You can see the picture. If you're sliding and the back end's going right, then you steer to the right. If the back end then starts sliding left, you steer to the left, okay? And then you finally get it back in control. Remember what they say on the animated movie Cars, when he's going around the dirt track, you steer right to turn left. So it might sound odd, but you keep the wheels turned to the right because the back end is sliding around, and that will help you continue going to the left. Controlled braking. So if you don't have ABS, applying your brakes to slow or stop quickly without locking your wheels, you know, if you feel that lock up, then let off the pressure. The heel of your foot on the floor, let the ball of your foot rest on the floor there on the brake pedal. If your wheels lock, keep using this squeeze relax method. So I guess I mentioned that. Anyway, ABS we talked about. There's a pulsing sensation, maybe even a vibration. So if you use the ABS. Also remember, ABS vehicles will allow you to steer and brake at the same time. They will not enable you to stop in a shorter time, however. So, okay. And then finally, other adverse weather conditions. I think we've talked about wind. If you see a tornado, stop, get out of your vehicle and lay down in a ditch or under a bridge. Hopefully we don't have to worry too much about that. But if you are in the picture at the bottom, driving along and say the wind is coming from your left, and this truck now passes you, well, that wind is going to be blocked. So if you're compensating by turning a little bit to the left with it to counteract that wind pushing against your car, then that semi is going to block that wind and you may go into the vehicle. So that's the one I can always think of with compensating for the wind. Hot weather, when this happens, turn off your air conditioner. So if you get your temperature light comes on, then turn off the air conditioner. Says you might be able to cool your engine by turning on your heater. This will pull some of the heat out of it. Not very comfortable in the passenger compartment. You can open up your windows. If it stays on, then stop in a safe place. Once it's cool, check the coolant level and add some when you need to or as needed. Never remove the radiator cap when it is hot. You can get a rag or a pair of gloves, push down on it and it'll pop up. But if it's really hot water, it'll start boiling. But that cap will not come off. So the water comes up, hits the cap, and then just kind of bubbles down the sides. Once it's cool, then you can push again and turn it one more time, and then it will come off, okay? So a quick story about the overheating. Down by Baker, California, again, I don't know if I told this story. It gets really hot, and I feel like I have, but anyway. It's about 10 or 15 miles up this long hill, and it says, there's a sign that says turn off your air conditioner. And so I turned ours off, and as I'm going up the hill, because it's hot in the summertime, and it's a strain on the engine anyway to go uphill, the temperature light starts going up. And when we get up on top and I turn the air conditioner back on, and the temperature light goes down. So if I had kept the air conditioner on, I may not have made it up the hill. Okay, cold weather, be alert for exhaust leaks. You don't want to idle the car and have that carbon monoxide get inside your passenger compartment. Make sure the exhaust pipe or tailpipe is not blocked, especially with snow like you can see in that picture. Do not race a cold engine, that means rev it up. Says in these conditions, use your automatic transmission park gear or the reverse gear with a standard transmission. When it's cold and wet, it recommends not using your park brake. I guess maybe it could get frozen. I don't really ever remember that happening, but I guess it could. Tips for smooth winter driving. Look and listen for traffic reports. You know, be aware of collisions, road repairs, bad weather. Can help you plan your trip. Keep your windows clear. Respect lower speeds, travel with the flow of traffic, but always maintain control. Allow 6, 7, or more seconds following distance just to make sure you have room, again, with bad weather. Try to keep moving in the snow. Use a lower gear on slippery roads to maintain control on ice or snow. Remember to keep moving to avoid getting stuck. And also don't use cruise control when it's bad weather. So anyway, that's chapter 12. In the announcement, I'll tell you what the assignment is. We will do this test on, I believe it's next Monday, because I think this Friday's a B-day. So thank you.